Jojo. Jojo? Jojo. 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 Welcome to a YouTube channel where the favorite anime of all time is Jojo. Why? Because I haven't seen any other masterpiece in anime as unique and weird as Jojo. So it is a given that I purchase/collect Jojo merch. But it isn't as easy as it may seem. The amount of merch you can purchase is very limited on quote-unquote popular sites like AmiAmi. As such, I first started out with Figma figures since they were the only figures I could purchase online. Though, as good as they are, they didn't quite do it for me. I always felt that they lacked in quality, which they compensate with their flexibility in terms of putting them into all kinds of poses. To my surprise, however, one day I stumbled upon a statue/bust of Jonathan from part 1 on AmiAmi. I was quite excited to see this and instantly pre-ordered it. The figure looked quite cool in the promo pics and I didn't obtain something like this before. So here we are with a vid for one of the most unique figures of Jojo. Like with every other figure, let's start with the box. The box design screams of Jojo. It consists of an extravagant and over-the-top color design. The base color of the box is green with faint patterns covering it. The box also features several silhouettes of Jonathan. The most obvious ones are on the front side of the box. All the other ones are camouflaged within the green coloring of the box. To achieve this effect, the designers used faint black strokes, making them harder to spot but improving the box visuals quite a bit. Those faint silhouettes cover all sides of the box excluding the top and the bottom. Next to the golden series title and Jonathan's name, the tapes going all over it contain various symbols in a variety of colors. One tape in particular has a symbol shaped in what looks like a stand arrow. Whether the other symbols represent other references in Jojo, I cannot really say. If you know, then please leave me a comment, even if it's just a theory. In short, the box is a beautiful piece of art representing the art style of Jojo to the letter. And I really respect it when companies do that. It's a nice additional touch. And if I had to rank the design of every figure box I own, then this one could most likely win it. Okay, let's move on to Jonathan. Right out of the box, I want to mention something I haven't seen with any other figure. Next to being sealed and wrapped up in plastic, the statue is additionally secured with a cable binder. The figure is a bit heavier than your average Good Smile figure, for example, so they added this additional layer of security to ensure that Jonathan wouldn't be damaged during the shipping process. And it isn't difficult to see why. There are several parts of the figure which are prone to break off if enough force is applied. For starters, his head's accessories consist of one long rod, several smaller rods, as well as strings, and a sea star. I honestly don't know what they are or how to describe them. Do they give off a Jojo vibe? Self-explanatory. They are weird, over the top, and I don't know what it is. Seems like a typical Jojo theme to me. As such, they can only be described as being Jojo. Moving on, Jonathan's clothes consist, next to his head, of a simple tank top with green stripes, green arm wraps with gloves, and green pants. The arms and his pants definitely receive most of his accessories. His left arm is covered with a watch and 2 other bracelets, while his right arm is virtually empty. The middle bracelet is covered with several different shapes, while the bottom one is empty, with the exception of the golden ball right below the dial. As a belt, he has one which design is very similar to the headband Joseph wore in the later stages of part 2. It might be that Jojo made another Jojo reference to itself again, though I'm not certain about it. It could be possible though. Apart from the belt, an additional golden belt goes halfway around his right leg, which is certainly a nice addition to the overall aesthetic. While we are already around his legs, let's take a quick look at the base. Jonathan's figure is fused with the base, combining it to one whole piece. Judging by the underside of it, it seems that Jonathan has been screwed onto the base, marking this as a first-time experience for me. I don't have something similar with any other figure in my collection, and I'm actually curious how they mounted him. Though I'm not going to unscrew it to check this. I'll leave it up to someone else who has a second statue or has the guts to risk damaging it. While I've shown everything from the statue, let's take for the rest of this video a look at some subtle details. Starting off is something that came to my mind when I worked on this video. The base design is potentially a reference to part 2. What I mean by that is just take one moment to look at the figure and think about this. A man is fused with a pillar. A pillar is fused with a man. This definitely has to be a Jojo reference to the Pillar Man from part 2, which makes this part 1 Jojo figure a reference to the next upcoming part, spinning as such the references from Jojo to Jojo even further. Oh, and pun intended. Next up is his pose. Jonathan's pose is similar to his most famous one from part 1. However, the entire design of the figure is based on the manga cover of volume 4 from part 1. While some colors differ from the cover, the designers stayed very faithful to the original and did a pretty good job adapting it to this figure. While we are on the topic of the pose, you may or may not have noticed that Jonathan's pose is covering his face with his left hand. Obviously, you cannot see his entire face up front, but the designer found a way to nullify this inconvenience. His face and his hand are not connected. As such, the area between those parts is quite spacious so that you can see his entire face from a side angle. I'm actually fairly convinced that the designers are to some degree fans of Jojo. They not only stayed faithful to the original pose, but made it so that Jonathan's face can still be viewed as a whole. Also, I'm honestly not used to this degree of details for the price I had to pay for it. The creme de la creme definitely is that Jonathan's muscles are very detailed. They are so precise to the point where you could use them to explain the human muscle anatomy. That level of visible muscle density is something I'm missing from the Jojo figma figures, which are by all means too small to showcase them. So yeah, that's quite literally all I can talk about for Jonathan's figure. It's definitely my most favorite Jojo figure so far, due to it being a scale figure, not a figma figure, resulting in a superior paint job and overall aesthetic design. It will definitely be hard for future Jojo figures to top this in my collection, and I just really hope that we will get more accessible Jojo scale figures in the future. But before I end this video, I want to make a short self-promotion. I've opened an Insta account where I'm going to post all of my thumbnails as well as other edited pics from other figures. YouTube only allows me to upload images of up to 2 megabytes, and mine are usually way above this limit. As such, I have to downscale the quality of my thumbnails. If you want to see what I create, then check out my profile through the link down in the description below. And if you like what you see, then follow me for future content on there. With that, I wish you a pleasant day, and I hope that you are as excited as I am for finally seeing the anime for Jojo Part 6. Enjoy watching it and see you in another video. Arrivederci.